juice box. Junkie juice box. Mother lover, you gon' love this. Graduated from a rebel to a revolutionary in my area, they love this. I'm a wreck it like I'm revving the engine, heaven's ascension, every dimension, give me attention. Look at my soul, look at my heart, look at my heart.
For every set at the moment, I'm just thinking about next year back on stage.
I came from the side of the ocean. Swim with the best of them, I can't deny I was chosen. Yeah, it's the Miggity Mac, milking the mic, I don't think I'm giving it back. Living unlimited witness, that's a limited fact. I'm mastered this, ain't no coming after this. Resurrected from the dead like Lazarus.
I just gotta go off on it. I just know to put the sauce on it. I don't care about the costs on it. I just got.
Ladies and gentlemen, how are we? I should address you as YouTube. It's a slightly different video today. We're going to give you an insight into what you're missing out on a member site. So this is your chance, Gigi, to get my wonderful YouTube followers over to the member site. We're going to take you through a leg day. Depending on how long we are in lockdown for, we'll try and get a couple of sessions in here per week, which will do me well. I've got 4 more weeks until prep begins. So there's the announcement. I'm not going to do some big announcement saying I'm competing. We are going to go for the show in June. I think it's the Compact Classic, then a PCA at the end of June, and then that'll be us done. So we've got 4 more weeks to continue pushing up. There's no time, as Callum checked in yesterday, there's no time to slow things down. I was 108 kilos this morning, so we've got another few weeks to keep on pushing and ensuring body composition is tight. And for those that are at home and that have very limited equipment and very little load, as I've said before, on the members site in Lockdown 1.0, I did a whole exercise library. So for those that have got maybe a couple of dumbbells and a few bands, I have a full exercise library taking you through each body part and different exercises you can do. For those, it's about ensuring that we can maintain as much tissue as possible. So if you've gone from an off-season back into this lockdown, or a tier 4, for example, still applying that stimulus and still ensuring that we are training sets to failure and keeping on top of form and ensuring that everything is pristine and nice and tight, that stimulus that's still being applied will 100% maintain the tissue. And there's no reason as to why you can't recomp. With my clients in the first lockdown, we did a fantastic job at recomping, maintaining tissue, dropping some body fat, tightening up a little bit so when we go back into our usual regime, we can push on. There isn't as much kit in here as there is in Crayford or Muscleworks, for example, but that doesn't mean that we're gonna drop intensity or doesn't mean that we're gonna pull volume down. We'll just distribute volume accordingly to each of the exercises that we've got. So we'll start on a leg extension, some ham curls, and then we'll go into the main bulk of the session. Wrist straps for leg extensions, Tom? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. We talk about ensuring we can be as stable as possible and get the most out of a movement in this particular exercise. The quads, by either kind of pressing down, as you've seen in previous videos, with me, Josh and Joe on the leg press, for example, or a leg extension on a ham curl. By applying that pressure from the top, keeping us glued in, we can ensure and drive as much force through the quads or the hamstrings as possible. Unfortunately, I don't have Josh or Joe. Josh is in the country somewhere, and Joe's in Dubai, shock. So I'm on my own. So what we do is we can use wrist straps to really glue our glutes down to the pad, or what you can do, what a lot of people do, is put a belt or a band around the seat to kind of put you in. I'm quite fat at the moment, so the belt doesn't work, and the bands is just too awkward to get into. So for me, I'll do the wrist straps. Adding in things like rest pauses or pauses is a great way, you know, it's not the heaviest leg extension, but we can apply a little more stimulus through a slight pause at the top, okay? So what we'll do is we'll go into our back offset now, which is a triple drop. So whatever weight that we had on for our top set, we'll see how many we can squeeze out. Once we've reached that near failure point, we'll drop it by a couple, go again, drop it by a couple. And that's the quads nice and fired up. Big show next year, man, big show. Doesn't matter what sort of scenario or situation you're in at the moment, ensuring that every single rep of every single set is on the fucking money is so crucial. You know, the environment for me is the biggest area that kind of gets into my head. Psychologically, and I'm sure everyone else is in the same boat, I'm very drained and tired of this sort of lockdown tier, lockdown out again. And especially when you're in a solid routine. I'm someone that is very OCD, and once I'm out of that routine, my head's completely gone. So taking each day as it is, planning your day the night before is key, and it's helping me a lot. You know, when Josh and Joe are back in the mix, I'm sure training will shoot up again, but I don't want to regress. I want to maintain that level of intensity. So do what you have to do. Music, psychologically prepare yourself, get all the shit out of your head before you go into the gym. And as you can see, intensity isn't being dropped. Regardless of the situation, regardless of the scenario, regardless of the gym, we're still ensuring that we're progressing. So we've done our leg extensions, we're going to line hamstring curl. This machine was at the West Wickham gym. The OG followers will remember the pump room days. They had this particular machine. It's not too bad. It's better than I remembered. We could get a little tricky here because the drop off is so much. When you get to that kind of shortened position, it's almost non-existent. We could band it a little bit, but there's nothing here to band. So we'll just work with it. One set, 8 to 10. One set, 12 to 15. Yay! It's not bad. It's good. It's good. As mentioned, same as the leg extension. Spending a little time in that shortened area with those pauses is a great way. Far too many people just boom, 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 missing out on so much of a crucial area of the particular movement. But yeah, I remember it dropping off a lot more. Maybe it's a different type of machine, but still very nice contraction on the hamstrings. So leg extension, hamstring curls done. We'll still go for our cluster, so our 4x4, very much enjoying that at the moment with the leg presses at Muscle Works. Quite nice leg press, they've kind of got that slight divot, so forcing the heels to elevate slightly. Big fan of these Vibrams, as you know, since using these back on the pendulum. Even for movements like RDLs, that ability to kind of hug the floor is phenomenal, and I really do enjoy it. So we'll band this up. Tend to do quite a few warm-up sets before we go into the cluster, but we drop that rep scheme. So I tend to do sort of 5 reps, 4 reps, then 3 reps. And then once we've kind of figured out where we're going with our max, then we'll go into the 4x4. So with that 4x4, it's 4 reps, 10 seconds rest, 4, 10 seconds rest, 4. And fantastic way to get a nice amount of volume into the quads, and kind of psychologically doesn't have to almost gear us up for like 2 or 3 sets of leg pressing, if you know what I mean. So as opposed to kind of 1 set, 8 to 10, then a back off, when we've got that cluster, it's psychologically just 1 set that I'm having to execute. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hey. Yes! Nice and smooth. Oh, yes. Again, another sure way to ensure we're really firing up and getting the most out of our movements during this time is just mind to muscle connection, be it thinking about that specific area or for every set at the moment, I'm just thinking about next year back on stage. And legs is a big area that I needed to bring up. We've done a good job thus far, but we've still got a long way to go. So every rep, every set at the moment, just thinking June 5th, June 20th, and that gets me through. Okay, so exercise number 4, we're going to like a Hatfield squat. So using the pins here just to hold on to. Lower back is still feeling a little gammy. That's Luke Johnson's word, isn't it? Gammy. Getting that from you, Luke. So being able to kind of alleviate that lower back pressure by implementing something like this and also elevating the heels. I'm a big advocate when doing these types of squats to elevate those heels. People with poor ankle mobility or flexibility, great way. Heighten those heels, bias the quads a little bit more, which we're trying to kind of do on this particular movement, and just generally feels for an all-round nicer movement. So 2 sets, 8 to 10 on this. Once we're done, we'll go into the glute ham raise, and then that'll be our leg session done. Good. 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 Whoa. Yeah. Very nice movement. Also have that ability to kind of help yourself out if you're stuck at the bottom. If you feel yourself going, a little bit of help and relief at that bottom to kind of get you out. Very nice, especially in these situations where you don't have Josh or Joe to help you. Working with that is very nice. Okay, finishing off with some fluff. Fluff work, it's the kind of area there where people tend to neglect a little bit or kind of drop the intensity. A nice way of kind of ensuring that we keep that consistency and keep that intensity all the way through the session is with these kind of fluff exercises to superset them. So we'll do some glute ham raises. It's more like a kind of Nordic curl. I started to do these with Josh and Lou back in Kings. Fantastic. So we'll do our sets on here, then we'll jump on the calf raise as well. Also, when we're doing kind of like pull work and doing rear delts, a lot of people tend to neglect these kind of calves and rear delts. So either kind of tag them on or place them at the start of your workout to get them done and dusted, or towards the end you can superset them. So calves, glute ham raises, for example, rear delts, superset with bicep curls if you're doing like a pull session. Hi guys, I'm just doing my annual cardio for the year. Well, I just said to Gigi I'm going to get a treadmill for the house. I'm going to build a shed and get a treadmill, so when prep starts February the 1st, I don't have to drive to Crayford or drive to a gym to do my cardio. Just roll out of bed, your Himba black coffee, which I can't wait for. As everyone knows, black coffee and your Himba, especially if you are a cheesy quaver, aka a raver, it's very good. But legs done. We've got legs again on Saturday. So at the moment, in terms of the split, we're still sticking with the same frequency. We just manipulated training a little bit. So we've got pull, and we've got a little bit of hamstrings on that pull, push, and then we've got our legs rest, upper, lower. So nice split. God knows how long we'll be in this mess for, but we've got adequate load. Very grateful for Gigi and a few others to reach out and allow me to use their facilities. Like I said, we're not stopping. You know, the momentum continues, and we've got a big job to do next year, and I'm very excited to do it. But any questions for this particular leg session, or if anyone's got any questions regarding kind of home workouts and any areas or queries around that, then just tap in the comment section below. And for all of the previous episodes of the Level Up, so what we're currently doing is Gigi is kind of filming my progression in the gym, and then at home and various bits and bobs, we're kind of going through the business side of things. So seeing TM Cycles and seeing the kind of behind the scenes to the brand and how we can improve our social media, YouTube, Instagram, and things like that. So feel free to click on the link below to the member site. As mentioned at the start, we've got a nice home exercise library there as well for anyone that is struggling with exercises or splits at home. But very much appreciate it. Look, we are yet again in this mess, and it seems that the country may go into another national lockdown, but keep your head up. I'm hopeful that we're not in this mess for too long and we can be back into our usual routine. We've done it before, we've done it twice, we can do it a third time. Reach out, ask me any questions, ask friends, ask family, take each day as it is, and we'll all be okay. Thank you, good night, much love.